In our conversation with Africa's business leaders, today we speak to Elsa Kuoh, who's a dynamic young executive working for the global French corporation Saint-Gobain as the sales and export lead in West and Central Africa. We'll be discussing the challenges of managing a business across many territories and also being a young woman executive in a male-dominated industry. Elsa Kuoh, thank you very much indeed for joining us on the BRICS Africa Channel.
Thank you for having me.
Perhaps we can start with getting a sense of Saint-Gobain's operations in West and Central Africa and the role that you play within the organization.
Okay, sure. So Saint-Gobain here in West and Central operates through two main types of businesses, I would say. So we have our local entities, which are mortar and admixture production lines. And at the factories, they also store related traded goods. Then we have what we call the cross-trade sales and the export activity. So the cross-trade sales are actually the imports that we make from our factories all around the world. And then the exports are what we do, what we sell from the local entities to the neighbor countries. So to give you a proper idea, at the moment we have one factory in Ghana, we have one in Ivory Coast, and more recently we opened one in Nigeria. And within the organization, I'm the head of cross-trade sales and exports for the region. So I cover all countries from Mauritania to Congo DRC. And it's 22 countries in total. Most are French-speaking countries. There are, of course, our English-speaking countries. We also have Spanish and Portuguese-speaking countries. And I manage a team of business developers that are based in Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, and soon DRC. And I'm also the head of customer service. We have a team that's based in Ghana. So in this whole portfolio, I have 22 factories and 15 brands that I deal with on a regular basis, and a few other ones that maybe I can contact from time to time for punctual projects. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
We'll talk about the business a little bit more shortly, but perhaps you can give us an idea about you. What inspired you to take on a leadership role in construction and building materials, which is pretty much a male-dominated industry, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's a very good question. So, I grew up in a family with very strong role models. They were my parents, my sisters, some cousins as well. But I would say it's mostly my grandparents actually who really inspired me in my position today. To give you a little bit more of context, so my granddad on my dad's side was Amadou Ahidjo's right hand when Cameroon became a whole nation, an independent country in the early 60s. So he was the first president general secretary, and then he occupied many other positions. He was also the mayor of Douala, which is the economic capital city. So I would say he definitely contributed significantly to the construction of Cameroon, and he built the foundations of the post-colonial Cameroonian administration. So one of his saying was that he would see himself as one of those who think that the finished work remains in the infinite work. It's a play on words in French. And he wrote it in one of the books that he did to document this period of time. So I would say this sentence intrigued me a lot, and it shaped like my whole path from my studies to what I wanted for my career. So I was living in Paris at the time, as I told you, when I saw the ad for the business developer position. And when I saw that it was also in Cameroon, I was like, okay, this is a sign for me to go to take on, and probably also a wink from him. So just for the record, there's a street named after him in Douala. And up to this day, I'm still thinking that I want to have a street in my name or a building named after me as well, because it's really an impact that's really tangible when you work in construction. And what's the on the leadership part, I would say that it comes from my grandmother on my mom's side, So she was part of the committee that created the National School of Administration and Magistracy in Yaoundé, Cameroon as well. She was among the only few women in the committee at that time, and she facilitated the installation of a lot of companies that came to invest in the country and to build some hotels, for example, in Yaoundé. She worked for different presidential administration departments as well. She helped Ufot Boigny from Ivory Coast. She helped Aijo from Cameroon. She worked for Marianne Gwabi from Congo Brazzaville. So she was the definition of a leader. Like, she had a vision, she believed in it, she followed it. She built her career in an environment that was also male dominated and not familiar to her at all. And she was very young at that time. So I think that that's what really inspired me doing my own path.
Those some powerful role models. I just wonder, in 2024, in the modern day, what are some of the challenges that you face being a woman in a male-dominated industry? I know that Africa can be quite patriarchal at times.
Exactly. That's the word. That's the correct label. So I had many dark stories about it actually. So most people in this industry, they don't expect a young woman to come to the construction sites to give instructions, to sometimes lead a team of applicators, or to make a diagnosis when there is an issue. So, sometimes I would come to construction site and I'm not wearing the safety outfit, so I have to change. And I see that some people are laughing and thinking that because I take off my heels and put on my safety shoes, I won't be as efficient or relevant as someone else. So it's an everyday battle. Like, when you have to face the looks, whenever you go to a site, there are some people who would see my name in the emails and they still call me sir, even though I believe my name is quite feminine. Like, I've never seen a guy named Elsa before. So, but until they see me, they're still calling me sir, almost like to provoke me or to cause a scene or something. Some people also cannot really focus on business. So conversations need to be restructured because they want to know, like, because I'm a woman, if I have kids, when will I have kids, my personal love situation, am I available for a drink on a Saturday night instead of a meeting at the office on a Monday morning. So there's also like the ego of the people that we have to deal with. Some people are very sensitive when they are to be corrected by a woman and they've been in the industry for years. So it's very challenging, but it's also unfortunate because, like, we notice that some women are actually giving up on their goals because they don't want to face the comments or the intrusiveness, and I really don't think it's fair, to be honest.
So, how have you managed to carry on and be resilient in the face of all of these challenges?
Well, that's a good question. I think what was really life changing for me was that I had a lot of support. So you remember all the role models that I mentioned. So my mom was doing business developer job as well when she was younger, when she started her career. So she took me through all of the situation that I could live as a woman working in Cameroon. So she tried to teach me all the steps, all the tricks to, like, be very resilient and face some situations. And I'm very grateful for this, but also, like, the company is very supportive. We have an internal network we can share among women and men as well, because this is a conversation that men need to understand as well. So both my family and my company are very supportive on this.
Let's talk about the business now and managing across diverse markets in Western Central Africa. It must come with challenges as well as opportunities. Take us through that experience. I think you said 22 countries.
Yes, 22 countries, so 22 very different profiles, customers, profiles that are different as well. But I would say the main challenges we face come from the lack of synergies between all of these countries and the regions, from West to Central Africa, for example. Basic example, we use the same currency. It's worth the same abroad, but bills are different and you cannot use them between the two regions. So for example, if I have bills that come from Ivory Coast, I am not able to use them in Gabon, but it's the same worth. So it's kind of tricky, and we witness a lot of differences between the market. Like we have two-tier markets from Central to West Africa. In some Western economies, our material will evolve in more mature markets. And like some regulations can be different from one region to another. I think they are tougher in the Central African region than the Western. And because the cross-trade business implies a lot of transactions in foreign currencies, we also need to pay very close attention to like the countries that have their own currencies, because it fluctuates a lot. So our customer actually suffer from this sometimes. And it's a very unique region in the way that people have to deal with lots of constraints that you don't find anywhere else. Like you have customs, you have some delays because of weather conditions, because of this and that. You have very long decision-making processes. And because Saint-Gobain is also an old company, we're learning to be more flexible to our customers' realities and like to assist them in the best way that we can. And for the opportunity is also like very unique, because like in some countries we are building them not from scratch, but we are building or rebuilding them, and we take a very serious part in this. Like we're contributing to, for example, headquarters, to banks, to hotels, residential area. We are building whole new neighborhoods, sometimes commercial centers. We are operating in the infrastructure networks as well, so roads, bridges. We will do stadiums and all kinds of projects. So I think as business developers and leaders, even whatever it is, we have a responsibility in the material that we introduce to the market. So we need to help people to achieve the aesthetic that they want, for sure, but also all the performances that will actually make their work sustainable and, I mean, remarkable. So each project is unique, and for that, each opportunity is very unique as well.
You mentioned the word sustainability. I know that for Saint-Gobain, sustainability and innovation, very important. Big French
Yeah.
company with long history from a very developed country. Africa, different stages of development. How do you incorporate this idea of sustainability and innovation in different territories at different levels of development?
As you mentioned, we operate on a very large scale. So our portfolio is very large. We have lots of R&D centers all around the world. So we are really able to give our customers many innovative solutions. We just play around with all the factories and all the material they can offer. If you remember, I mentioned that I am interacting with at least 22 factories around the world. So they have a lot of material they can offer, and we would just like go around and play with it. And what is used in one country can be very new for this country, but like very well known in another one. So we had this example, for example, a project in Equatorial Guinea where they used a plaster that is projected to provide acoustic and a better acoustic. So this was new for Equatorial Guinea, but this has been used for a long time in European countries. So we have these small victories when we can like really tackle issues and be very innovative depending on the project. And this is what we do. Like we provide a very tailored technical how can I say this, like pieces, some technical pieces of advice and recommendations to our customers. So for example, when someone comes to me for a project, I like to tell them not to send me everything via email or text and all the elements that they need, because what I like to do is to go on the construction site and like be able to see freely what I can suggest without focusing first on prices or constraints or anything, and be like very open-minded. So just factually, what's the issue on the construction side? What innovative or sustainable solutions Saint-Gobain can actually provide? So once the diagnosis is relevant, then people will have to think about their constraint, and we try to work and help them to get what they actually want and what they actually need, because they have a lot to think about and they don't know our product as we do internally. So sometimes they didn't even know that we could be producing this or that, and we just take them through everything.
I think you've partly answered my next question, actually, is
Okay.
asking you about the leadership qualities that you think
Uh,
are critical in making an impact in this region that you're working in at the moment.
to me, the key to be a successful leader in the region is to actually understand the region. You need to understand your customer's reality. Like, we can have similar issues, but very, very different ways to handle it, whether it is culturally or legally or professionally. So what you can do to solve an issue in Gabon will not be appreciated in Senegal, for example. So you have to like deal with it, and you have to understand what people actually want so that you can be heard as loud as you want to. So the economic context and entrepreneurial environment can be drastically different from one country to another. And successful leaders, I think, must understand the codes and the way they will be perceived on the market so that they are really blending, because it's also something like we need to blend into the countries where we are operating in, so that we can be understood, so that we can make an impact. So whether it is thanks to local cooperation, initiatives, or like the way we communicate, it's all about customers really, and like refocus on them to make the impact that we want.
This is the BRICS Africa Channel, so we have a certain view and focus about how we see the world. Saint-Gobain is a global company, and I just wonder, from your view, what role do you see BRICS playing in perhaps influencing economic growth and infrastructure and development on the continent?
Saint-Gobain is already present in a lot of different countries for sure. But for example, our headquarters for Africa are actually based in South Africa. So we have multiple factories there as well. And I think it already says a lot about the trust and faith that Saint-Gobain has in these countries' potential when it comes to the impact for Africa. We are really trying to be more local, to be also positioned in countries that have huge potential and that are emerging countries. We also have a factory in Ethiopia. And as I mentioned, we're doing cross trade. We can supply material from all countries around the world. So base believe that at least two, three, maybe four nations belonging to the BRICS are already involved in our growth on the continent. And as we speak, the team, they have been working on quotations from Brazil, from China. There's a strong activity in India as well. We've reactivated some discussions with the team in Egypt, for example. And should Turkey join someday, we also have a very strong network there. So Saint-Gobain has faith in these nations and know their potential, know the impact that they can do within the region, for sure.
What advice do you have for aspiring leaders in Western Central Africa, particularly young women who perhaps want to make a difference in their industries?
So for this one, I think, well, first of all, to begin with my fellow women, I would say I absolutely encourage you to be unapologetically you in a male dominant industry, and always be proud to be where people don't expect you at all. Don't be scared to express yourself. Never belittle yourself, because sometimes it only takes one person to make a significant change, and this person can be you. So never be scared. Also, to my young women there who want to be part of the construction sector and industry, There is a real solidarity between us in the industry. It's a small world, so we support each other a lot, and you won't be alone. And for all leaders, all included, I would say, first of all, thank you, because like wherever you are, you're part of an incredible journey towards the continent's success. And do not hesitate to reach out to people with similar positions in different countries, so that we can allow more synergies between us. It's not like when we were at school, for example, and we couldn't watch what our neighbor was doing. Like, it's the opposite. In our case, it's good to see what neighbors are doing, because it helps us to challenge ourselves and not fall back in our comfort zone. So we need to still make things move. At any point, we need to make things move. And I would say for young leaders, a key advice would be to find the best ways to still motivate the more mature generations to be more open-minded to new options, to new perspectives, and vice versa for the elder leaders. Please, we want you to have faith in the new generations. We want to honor what you started and just take it to the next level. So basically, my advice would be to keep pushing doors, to keep changing narratives, and to keep making the world a better home, as we say in Saint-Gobain, because it's part of our headline.
Elsa Kuoh, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much indeed for joining
Thank
us on the
you.
BRICS Africa channel.
Thank you so much.